hat feels crooked. Okay. Oh, shoot. I forgot to hit the button. Okay. I'm on Facebook and I'm going on. No, I'm on YouTube and I'm going on Facebook. Okay. Here we go. How is that? There we go. Okay. All right. Just waiting for people to turn up before I get started. Oops. Lives. Okay. Hello. This is one of my unscheduled lives. Hello. Okay, so I got people turning up. It's an unscheduled live. These are my favorite kind because I don't like planning anything. Anytime I've got something planned, I just kind of seize up. Okay, so I'm scratching my back. All righty. Should I just get going? Yeah, I'll just get going. Anyway, my name is Lisa. Welcome or welcome back. I'm a parenting coach, a mom, and a grandmother. If you go to BratBusters.com, that's my website. I think it's in the link above somewhere, wherever you are. And you can see my free behavior board, my boot camp courses. There's still that Black Friday sale still going on. I think it's going on for about another 15 hours. So if you want to get in on that, you might want to check that out. That's on the boot camp courses only, or you can look into coaching. So let's get going. By the way, if you've sent me an email over the last few days, I've only got 89 more to go. So I'm going to be answering them tonight. So yeah, we've just had a crazy weekend. So just because of the Black Friday sale, stuff comes up, you know. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so I've sort of changed things in the way I do lives. By the way, we're going to be doing 2 podcasts from now on, 2 podcasts per week. They're going really well. Also, I will be ending, I think, these lives, the scheduled ones. It's just the scheduled ones that I do Tuesdays and Thursdays. I can't remember what my daughter said we're going to be changing. But anyway, things are changing. I'm getting busier. But I still will be doing lives. They'll just be unscheduled because it's hard to schedule stuff in these days. Anyway, so yeah, we're just getting a bit crazy here. And we're very careful. We like to be a lean machine in this business. It's just my daughter and I. We want to keep it that way. So we're very careful what we do. Okay, so let's get going with your questions. And I will throw in stuff that I like to talk about because questions are all about discipline. Discipline is a tiny part of what I teach. I teach how to connect with your kids, how to respect them, how to get respect from them. That's what I teach. But everyone wants to know about discipline. In other words, everyone wants to know how to fix their kids. I don't do that. I fix you. I teach you. And your kids will follow. So everyone thinks their kids have a problem. It's not. They're just reacting to your parenting. Except toddlers. They're just kind of nuts anyway. They're just forming. Okay, I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. And I've got lots of videos on that. Number 3, connect with toddlers in their world, not your world. They're all about actions. They're not about words, and they're not about going to the nail salon or anything. You want to go to the park and roll down the hill with them. Okay, discipline your toddlers in their world. They're about actions, not words. So you use consistent corrective actions. You got to be consistent, repetitive. They'll eventually learn. And number 5, stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings, and they're just forming. Okay. Baby coming in February. I already have 6 and 7-year-olds. Thoughts? I got no thoughts whatsoever. That's actually really good because the older ones will be responsible enough to not be a pain in the butt when you're trying to feed the newborn. You know what I mean? Like if you've got a toddler and a newborn, that is so physically demanding. Oh, hello, Katie. Oh, rainy Prince George. Oh, the snow has stopped, has it? God, it feels like it could snow here. It's so cold. Okay. Okay. 4-year-old, when doing the positive consequence, good, the positive action consequence, cleaning chore usually, and I'll explain all this. This is on YouTube, by the way. Continues to ask, am I done? Do I ignore it or do I answer her? Usually when she's sweeping or cleaning a window. Oh, you have to have a very clear, you have to sort of show her ahead of time what done means. And then if she just sort of does it a little bit, say, oh, not quite finished yet. So yeah, I don't know why she's asking. Is she asking before it's done or after it's done for your approval? It's a little bit of a difference there. But yeah, I'm guessing she's asking because she hasn't finished, and that's why you're asking me. If she hasn't finished, she's only 4. I would say, well, you still got a little bit more to go. I don't quite know why she's asking though, so I can't give a very good answer. Do your methods work with autistic children, or have you ever worked? I've worked with tons of autistic children, but no, I don't recommend my methods with autistic children unless you think it'll work. Okay, it depends where they are on the spectrum, and that's usually with autism. It's more in the special needs department. ADHD is not at all. It's not a special needs, but autism is, depending where they are on the spectrum. And that would be coaching one-on-one with me. That's the only place I ever really go into detail because I need to know what's going on, what's worked in the past, what hasn't worked, and then we move forward. Okay. Yeah, 9-year-old pretends to have a shower, goes in, locks the door, turns the water on, etc., then comes out. If questioned, then comes out. If questioned, becomes argumentative and lies. Not sure how to approach this. Would you be surprised if I've heard this many, 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 many times with kids, older kids too, teenagers? Yeah, I would just say, I'm going to be doing a sniff test and do a sniff test. just do it. Say that'll be the consequence. I suspect you're not showering, so I'm going to do a sniff test. Or I can come in there and supervise, or your dad will, whoever is the same-sex parent. Yeah, or you can wear a bathing suit and I'll supervise. Not that they're going to get that clean down there, you know what I mean? But anyway, so yeah, there's lots of ways around that. You got to negotiate that. What do you want? I can either come in when you're wearing a bathing suit and supervise, or your dad can go in if it's a boy without a bathing suit, or I'll do the sniff test. Say, because and just call them on it. Say, I don't think you're getting clean. I can totally relate to the shower story. Yeah, I hear this all the time. It's really funny to me when parents say, you've probably never heard this before, but, and I say, yeah, I just heard that twice this morning. Like if you think you're the only one going through stuff, chances are you are in very good company. Lots of parents go through lots of the same stuff. Yeah, kids who are dirty just don't want to get clean. That's usually teenage boys. And when they get a girlfriend, they don't just spray Axe anymore. They usually start showering. But yeah. 13-month-old afraid of having the water on his face. Do I just keep washing knowing he's okay? I would kind of get his hand, give him a face cloth rather than drizzle water on him. Get a face cloth and put it on his hand and go, see, let him wipe your face too. Okay. I was babysitting my granddaughter yesterday, and I wanted to take her out for a walk. I couldn't figure out the pram because she's all bundled up in this snowsuit kind of thing, and I couldn't loosen the straps on the stroller. So anyway, she was crying because she didn't want to, here, poor grandma's trying to smash her into the stroller. So she's crying. She looked so mad at me. And it took a while to get her back on my side. She was only like 11 months old. It took a while to get her back on my side after that. I was traumatized because I don't see a lot of her. And grandma just wants to, have a great time. So yeah, I had to bribe her with cracker and everything after that. But yeah, it's quite heartbreaking. So I'm still kind of traumatized over that. I didn't like seeing her. She was actually hurt that I was trying to get her in this thing. She looked upset with me. Yeah. Grandmothers are different, by the way. It's different when it's your own kid. You just do what you got to do. Grandmothers we're more trying to just have a good time with them, right? It's funny. Yeah, I had to bribe her after that to get her back on my good side. So yeah, let's say I was trying to wash her face and she didn't like it. I would have her wash my face. And you see what I mean? That's why I went into that. Yeah. Getting the shampoo out. There are those little, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called. Those things that you can put on their head. They usually don't like any of it. So what I would do again is if you have to shampoo their hair and maybe they haven't got that much hair, I would just do it with a face washer for a while. And then I might drizzle a little bit of water and maybe use a spray bottle, get them to spray the spray bottle, then, because they really do. It's a sensory issue. A lot of kids really don't like that feeling of having, water running through their head because it often goes into their face. That's why you get that cap thing. It's just a little crown. It looks like a crown and it just goes around here to protect their eyes from getting wet. You can try, but generally these things are just stages. You'll survive it. I get a 4-year-old that refuses to fully potty train because she doesn't get gross. Yeah. I don't know. You can check out the, no, you can't. I've got the potty training course. It's a mini course. They're all on the boot camp course right now. But it goes up to the age of 3. So a 4-year-old's a little bit different. I would put on the behavior board something like this. If she already knows, say, and you never have a consequence for doing, like, making a mess. Okay. So maybe put on the behavior board, make it like an incentive-based thing. If you go a whole week without an accident, then we might do this. Use incentive. But yeah, it's a tough one. There's a lot of things I could tell you to do, but I don't want to go in great detail here because I don't know your situation. But yeah, I would use a bit of a bribe with that, because you never punish bodily functions. Got to be careful with that. By the way, it's a visor. Yeah, you're right. It's that visor thing. I know exactly what it looks like. It's got, like, comes out a little bit here. It's got a little shelf around it. Anyway, okay. By the way, if you're waiting to hear from me in an email, my daughter does answer most of the emails, but I answer the client ones, coaching client ones. But if you're waiting for me, I've got 89 more emails to answer. Over the weekend, we were just dealing with the Black Friday sale, which is about doesn't end. I think it's another, 14 hours or something left that's on the boot camp courses. So just glitches, whenever you do something, there's always glitches. Every time you do something, it's always glitches. Okay. This one I can't really answer effectively, but I'm going to try. You got a couple questions here, but it's the one this is from Frugal Mama Wolf on YouTube. When you miss the beginning of a fight, 2.5 and 4-year-old, how do you handle it when they both claim the other one started it? Well, you just say, okay, well, then we'll just stop the activity. So you can actually just put a stop to whatever they're doing and say, okay, so you go play over there for a while, you go play over there. It's not time out because they're not in a naughty corner. It's just you're separating them from each other. Okay. So they usually don't like to be separated, believe it or not. So yeah, if you don't know who started it, then next time keep your eye on them and you decipher who's the troublemaker. Often the one who hits is not the troublemaker. They're reacting. They are retaliating to the antagonizer. So just watch them like a hawk next time. Get those baby cams or whatever. Watch them like a hawk. You got to catch it. The little one's too little. It's usually the little one antagonizing the older one. Then the older one retaliates and then they get in trouble. That's usually the way it goes. So yeah, get a baby cam kind of thing and watch them like a hawk. Figure it out. Which one is causing the problems? And then go racing in there right away because the little one can't be on a behavior board. It's too young. And then say, I saw that. You did that. So here, you're going to have to come with me for a while and you can't play with that or whatever. Oh, you got a 3-year-old who dislikes doctors? Yeah, there's not much you can do about that because that's a fear. And I kind of, that's a real fear. I kind of feel bad for kids when they're afraid of a dentist or a doctor or anything. I remember once, I can't remember which one of my kids, but one of them was terrified of the dentist, which I understand. And I think it would have been my daughter, actually. She was the calmer of the 2 kids, but she didn't like strangers as much. My son was easier around strangers. So anyway, I can remember laying in a dental chair with, I think it was her, on me, and I had my mouth open, and the dentist was looking at both, going back and forth with both of us, just pretending to look in my mouth and then using the tools in her mouth. But yeah, you go to great lengths. It's a fear. It is a genuine, like a phobic kind of fear. So I kind of respect that, to be honest. And I get involved in it. I get, and you can't talk them into it either. You can't bribe. If you're good at the doctors and you get that painful shot in your arm, then we'll go out and get chocolate. Well, when it comes time to get the shot, they're going to freak out. See, I can't really help you with that. Just be the patient with them. Let the doctor look at you too. That's the only thing I ever found really helped. And I used to make a big show of it. Like, oh, I'm scared. And then, oh, that wasn't so bad. That was kind of fun. I don't know if my kids bought it, but it worked. What's currency for a 5-year-old girl who absolutely will not do anything she's asked? She'll do the complete opposite. Use the behavior board. That is your teaching tool for you to learn how to be a leader. Also, you might want to check out the boot camp course. We've still got the Black Friday sale going on. It's 25% off the boot, just for about another 14 hours, I think it is. Anyway, check that out. Or you can just use the free behavior board. So yeah, she just doesn't respect you. That's all that means. Remember, we're not fixing kids. She's just reflecting your parenting. You set yourself up as a leader and they respect you. It's just the way it goes. I've worked with hundreds of kids, toddlers, right up to troubled teenagers. I managed to get their respect. Did I just happen to get them on a good day? Because I never got easy kids. No one ever handed me an easy one to work with. No one ever said, here's an easy one, Lisa. They all went, good luck with this one. So yeah, I know what it's like. I know how hard it is to get respect, and I know how to do it. That's what I teach. It's work. You got to earn that. You got to work for it. So yeah, once you're a leader, they respect you. Don't blame them for them reacting to your lack of leadership. Don't blame them. Look at yourself. Say, you know what? I got to be a leader. They just don't respect me. I got to earn it. I got to work for that. Don't expect it to be handed to you on a silver platter. That's ridiculous. What's wrong with my kid? He doesn't listen to me. It's because you're not a leader. Work on yourself and they listen. You lead, they will listen. It's like I use this example. Let's say you have 3 different classrooms, and it's not like teaching, it's different, but it's the only analogy I've really got. Take 30 kids. The first classroom they go into is the authority, the old-fashioned authority, right? That's the teacher. So they will listen when the authority is watching them. When the authority looks down or leaves the room, they get crazy and they start acting out. Then you take those same 30 kids, put them in front of with the pleaser style teacher. Okay, they will be acting out while the teacher's looking down and leaving the room. It's just bedlam. They don't respect that teacher at any point. Authorities will get respect when it's sort of fear-based respect, and it's only when they're looking. So it's not real self-discipline. It's more doing what the authority says. It's more the obedient soldier style, which I don't do. Then you take those same 30 kids and you move them into the leader, that teacher, the leader. And they're good when the teacher's looking, when the teacher looks down, when the teacher leaves the room. Also, when the teacher comes back after leaving the room, they'll brag about how good they were. They want to please that leader because they respect that leader. They look up to that leader. That leader makes them feel good about themselves, right? The same 30 kids, all principals and teachers will totally agree with that analogy. Well, I don't know if they all will, but a lot do. Because they get it. You take the same 30 kids and you put them in a class where a teacher doesn't know what they're doing. And then you put those same 30 kids in a class where a teacher does know what they're doing. Look at the difference in the kids, right? It's never the kids. It's the adult. So don't blame your kids for their bad behavior. Look in the mirror and say, what am I missing here? What am I going to do? I teach leadership. That's all I do. You can get my free behavior board. The boot camp courses are still on sale for, I think, another 14 hours. I don't know. Anyway. Or you can look into coaching one-on-one with me. Coaching does not slow down over Christmas. You'd think it would, wouldn't you? You'd think it would. So there's still a wait list for coaching. But anyway, I think I am finishing up with a few clients this week, so I should be able to take some new ones on. Or sometimes clients will take a hiatus. Like they'll hire me maybe a couple times, 2 or 3 times, like coaching packages. And then they'll reach a plateau and they'll say, okay, we're going to work on this for a while. So if they say I won't see you for another month or 2, then I can take on a new client. So just depends. And I like to mix up the ages too. And I'm doing my best to get to the emails tonight. I've been working on emails today, and yeah, I've got 89 more to go. So hopefully I'll get to them all. I do keep an eye out for coaching clients if you're in crisis or something, obviously. But other than that, yeah, I'm just backed up here. So I'll get to that tonight. Oh, what time is it? Oh, okay. I better move over. I haven't got a lot of time tonight because I've got to do all these emails still. So I'm going to move over to Instagram now if you want to join me over there. If not, you can check out my website, BratBusters.com, and you can see my free behavior board. You can see my 2 boot camp courses. They're still on sale, 25% off until tomorrow morning. And what else is on there? Oh, yeah. Coaching, one-on-one with me, or you can look into the podcast. My daughter and I do the podcast together. And we're going to be doing 2 a week, I think, starting next week. It's going swimmingly, as they say. So, yeah, we're going to be doing 2 podcasts a week from now on, starting next week. And what else are we doing differently? Oh, the regularly scheduled lives, I think, are ending soon. I'll be bouncing and doing lives, and we will be replacing them with something else, though. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, we can't keep doing more and more, and something has to give, right? So we're going to be doing more podcasts, but less scheduled lives. So anyway, I'm hopping over to Instagram now. I'm on YouTube the whole time, which is where I save all my lives if you're interested in rewatching them. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Happy parenting. Whoops. Oh, sugar. What did I do wrong? I think I did something wrong. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think I did something wrong. Oh, well. Drats. I think I forgot to save that on Facebook. Oh, well. I messed up. Okay. Oops. Okay, I'm on Instagram now. I hope. I'm on Instagram, I think. I'll know, by the way, how fast people turn up. People turn up really fast on Instagram. Like they all turn up in one clump. Let me see. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, I've got almost 100 here now. Okay, so let's get going. Remember, I always save my lives on YouTube. So if you ever want to see this again, or if you have to leave, and maybe I answered your question after you had to leave, it'll be on YouTube. Anyway, that's also where you can see our podcasts. My daughter and I do a podcast, and it's on all the platforms, like the podcast platforms, Spotify and Apple and all that. I don't really know what they are. You know, the play stuff where you play. I don't know where you play podcasts. Anyway, that's where they are, and also on YouTube. So it's on video too. And what else? Why did I mention that? I don't know. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board. You can look into the courses, the bootcamp courses. There are 2 of them. They're still on sale for about till tomorrow morning. You can see it's all on the website. You can check that out. There's a countdown clock on there, I think. Okay, so, and then also you can look into coaching. So let's get going. A 3-year-old tells us to go away and speaks disrespectfully. How to handle this? I wouldn't handle that. I never handle attitude. Just ignore it. Just say whatever. Just ignore it. It's a tell. It means he doesn't respect you. You got to work on your leadership skills. Remember, it's never them. It's you. They're reacting to your leadership or lack of it. So if they respect you, they don't talk to you like that. So work on your leadership. Earn the respect. You got to work for it. Don't expect it to be handed to you on a silver platter. You got to work for it. I earned it. Believe me, I worked for it. So especially when I was working with kids, holy moly, I worked my butt off to get respect. And once you've got it, then you can relax, but you got to earn it. Okay, it's just a tell. It means you're not a leader. So work on your leadership. You can check out the boot camp course. It's on sale right now. It's until tomorrow morning. So you might want to check that out. Okay. I don't know if I can tell this story because I can't remember where I heard it. It was just something I heard today. Oh, it was in a comment, and it would have been on Instagram. Yeah, I don't know if I want to say that, but it was in a comment. No, I won't. Anyway, by the way, look up my toy rotation system. There's a whole bunch of videos on that on all my platforms. Just look up toy rotation, BratBusters toy rotation. And Christmas time is when you want to really get this going, because what it is basically is you put all their toys away and they only bring 5 out at any given time. And maybe once a week you can rotate them. Okay. It teaches them how to, keep the environment clean so they don't have everything all around. Also teaches them how to focus. It's also a really good leadership skill. Looks like you're the fun master. You know how to make things fun by rotating stuff around. It's just one more thing that you're kind of good at organizing. It's another leadership skill. Anyway, Christmas is really when you want to do this. So you want to watch them when they're opening up their presents. And you know the presents where they go, wow, thank you. And they're just like, then they open up another one. They go, oh, okay. And they go like that, grab it, put it away. They won't remember getting it. In March, that present's going to look pretty exciting. So yeah, get that stuff put away. I was very good. I would snatch stuff so quick when I saw that look on their face. They had no memory of it. They just remembered the PlayStation or whatever it was, the big kitchen center or whatever they got, that, the bike. They remembered the big stuff. They didn't remember all that little stuff they got. Yeah, I snatched that up so quick and put it away. 3-year-old refusing to follow directions and leave when parent says it's time to go. Again, that's a tell. It means they don't respect you. Okay, so work on your leadership skills. That's all I teach you. Remember, we don't fix kids. They're just reacting to your leadership or lack of it. So under the age of 3, no, they're toddlers. They're just nuts anyway. They're just forming. But 3 and above, yeah, if they're not listening to you, yeah, you got to work on your leadership skills. Love you, first year pre-K teacher in Denver. Hello, Ms. Kelly's class 101. That's cute. Yeah, I do have a lot of my clients are teachers, principals, and child psychologists. I couldn't do their jobs, but they also struggle with parenting like everybody else does. It's personal. It's just different. Just because they're really good in a classroom doesn't mean that they aren't struggling at home. Okay, because it doesn't cross over. A lot of stuff does, but a lot of stuff does not cross over. Home is personal. School is a business. It's just different. But yeah, a lot of stuff does cross over though. One thing that doesn't, total disaster at home, but works beautifully at school, is a reward chart for good behavior. It's wonderful in the classroom. At home, it's a disaster. It's saying you're normally rotten, but if you should happen to be good, you'll get a gold star. You see, it's sending the wrong message. I would never reward a child for good behavior in a home. Never. That's my baseline. I just expect good behavior. Why would I reward for what I just expect? Could you imagine your husband or your wife saying to you, you've been really good today. I'm going to give you a gold star. Well, what the hell was I yesterday? You see, it's an insult. So yeah, you don't reward for good behavior at home and in a personal relationship. Okay, I'm just going to skip through to make sure you're still here when I answer. Plus, I just want to mix up the ages too, because I get people here who think, are you just the toddler? What do they call me? The toddler whisperer, someone said. No, I specialize in teenagers. But most people who turn up here have toddlers and ask questions about toddlers. So that's why if you don't ask me questions about teenagers or older kids, I'm going to throw other stuff in. Because you might have teenagers, you just don't think that you can ask a question about them. I'm going to read my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1 is you listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2 is you negotiate as much as possible. Something like this. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? A lot of parents are surprised by that. Why should I negotiate? Blah, blah, blah. And I say, well, just do it. It just works. You're building reciprocity. You're building respect. Okay. Number 3, with teenagers, don't sweat the small stuff. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. Or do you want to hear what I did this morning? In other words, it's okay to not be perfect. Nothing wrong with that. They're going to make mistakes just like you do. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. There is something wrong with it if you don't learn from it. That's the only thing. So you want to encourage them to learn from it, whatever. But don't lecture. Number 4, don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. I tend to go on about that one too much. I won't. You can just guess what that means. Don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. So when do you discuss the bad times? Never. What's the point? What's the point? Number 5, you can be a right fighter with a teenager, or you can be happy. You can't be both. Any relationship really past the age of 13, or you can be a right fighter or you can be happy. Can't be both. They already know you're right when you're arguing with them. They just don't want to hear it. Okay. Anyway, I won't go on about that. What's your opinion on the chore board? I use a chore chart and I put it on the behavior board and I say follow chore chart. The behavior board is completely free. Check out BratBusters.com and put down follow chore chart. Keep it tiny, small, simple, easy. And then just have like 3 chores. Oh, sugar, just a sec. That's my daughter. Just let me send her a message. I just want to we work together. I just want to make sure it's not really important. Just a sec. Doing live. Is it important? So I just want to wait to hear from her. She might be watching the live and I'm glitching or something. Sometimes she tells me, Mom, you're on the wrong place or whatever. So that's why. Where is she? So I've got Find Her, but it's on my phone. I don't want to disconnect you when I look for her. I don't know where she is. Actually, she's not answering me. Now I'm kind of worried. Sorry, I'm just going to check Find Her to see where she is. She might need a ride somewhere. Just a sec. Sorry about this. Nope, she's home. Oh, she's got it silenced. Okay. Just a sec. I'm going to send her a chat. Never mind. Doing a live. Is it important? Sorry about this. She's not just my daughter. She's 30 years old. You are glitching a little. Yeah, she might be trying to tell me that something's glitching on here. No, all good, she said. Never mind. Anyway, we're business partners. So that's why if she contacts me when I'm doing a live, it might be because something's going on here. Something's going on here. I don't know why I'm doing that. Swatting a fly. Okay, for toy rotation, what do you do if you have an open bin organizer from IKEA? Get rid of it. Get rid of it. I would. Just put nothing in there. Put one thing in each one. Yeah, get rid of it. I don't like that kind. I don't like little kids having access to everything or a lot of stuff. I just don't like it. Classrooms don't allow that. They're very careful. They have like, okay, now we have this activity. Now we have that activity. So yeah, I'm not big on playrooms. We did have a spare room when my kids were growing up, but I refused to make it a playroom. I wanted my kids playing around me all the time. I had the kitchen and the family room connected, and that's where I wanted them all the time. I wanted them playing around me. I wanted to watch them. I wanted to see what they were doing. So yeah, but they never had access to many toys. I was very careful with that. So, and they don't need it. They get bored. They learn how to focus when they haven't got a lot of stuff. What about a toy closet in their playroom, but it's closed and they have to ask to get something out? That depends. If they're really little and it becomes a problem, and every single hour, can I get something? Can I get something? Do it when they go to bed, so they don't even know what's in there. Yeah, don't let them see you going in there and getting it out. Oh, good. You're gonna like this, by the way. Technique for flying on an airplane with a 2-year-old. Mine had 2 major tantrums in the plane. I always say you completely ignore tantrums, right? Because any attention is tantrum food. It makes them grow, except on a plane. There's no way I would put an airplane full of people through a tantrum. I would even justify their behavior if they decide to open up the emergency door and kick you out. Like I just don't think it's very fair to put a plane full of people. You give that kid whatever they want. I did that. My son was 18 months old. We flew from Australia to Canada. It was a 24-hour trip. We had a stopover. It was just, he never slept the whole 24 hours. He fell asleep once in my arms, and then he woke up like 2 seconds later, and oh God, it was just awful. Anyway, he didn't have a tantrum, and he was a tantrumer. He didn't have one because I gave him whatever he wanted. So yeah, and then they learn. As soon as you get off the plane, that rule doesn't happen anymore. They learn, they adjust, because you're not flying that often, right? So yeah. Same goes for in church or in somewhere where you're trapped and you can't get out. Church, I would just take them out and then ignore them. But somewhere where you're trapped, like on a plane or on a train or something like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. Whatever they want. Anything to shut them up. You know what's funny is I remember once years ago, I said, well, you're not very patient. They said to me about their kid. What their kid was doing was hanging over the airplane seat and kicking, I can't remember what he was doing, but throwing stuff at me. And it was just, and I said, excuse me, can you play? Because it was in my food. He was throwing stuff in my food and spitting in that like he was 2 years old, hanging over the seat. And the parent said, well, it's the only way we can entertain him. And they said, well, you're not very good with kids, are you? They didn't understand. It wasn't the kid I was judging. It was them. Do not let your kid hang over a seat and spit into the person's meal. There's no excuse for that. But yeah, they didn't know what they were doing. So anyway, I was young at the time. I didn't know what to do. As if the problem there was me not liking kids, not that my food was getting spit on. I have a 4-year-old girl who sometimes with other people is a Debbie Downer, and other times she is great. How do I navigate this? I don't know what's going on with that. Just kind of ignore the downer stuff. She could be doing it for attention. I don't know. So I don't know quite why she's doing it. I don't know the context around that. So maybe when things are going her way, she's great. And when things aren't going her way, she's not. Maybe that's it. Maybe she's spoiled and entitled. Sounds like that could be it, to be honest. I could be wrong though. I've been wrong before, so not that I remember, but I'm sure I have. I blocked that from my memory. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff, but parenting I'm pretty confident with. Doesn't mean I'm right all the time. I just said I'm confident. What to do with too many presents from family, excessive and emphasizes materialism? Well, aren't you the parents? How much control are you giving the family? Say, that's great, thanks so much, but we're giving it away to a charity. I told you I don't want my kids spoiled, so that's going to a charity. That's what I would do. They're my kids. I'm not letting someone else control that. No way. But you got to tell them up front. I don't want my kids spoiled. We'll be giving the excess of stuff away to a charity. Yeah. Do you have a time cap on how long you ignore a tantrum before intervening? Depends on the age. If they're 5 or 6 years old, they can go for 3-4 hours. I don't care. If I know they're doing it just to control, there's a difference. They keep watching you. There's a difference. You can just tell. So yeah, but if they're really little, I might do the indirect redirection. So I might go sit and play with their toys away from them, and then they'll come and join in. But if they're tantruming over there, I'd get up and walk away and then maybe play with something else. So there's lots of methods around that. But a good half hour for sure they can go. The thing is that if you interrupt a tantrum, they're not learning how to get themselves out of it. You want them to learn you want their brain to process getting out of a tantrum all by itself. As soon as you interrupt, the brain's learned nothing. Nothing. There's no lesson in that. So that's why I don't like to interrupt a tantrum. And tantrums are harder on you than they are on them, usually. This is just a grandma story because I'm a grandmother. You're just going to have to suffer through this. Just because I'm a grandmother, I have to say this. Anyway, so I was there yesterday babysitting, and she didn't know I was right there. She pretty much knew I was right there. She's only like 11 months old. And she was playing, but her back was to me. And if I wasn't holding her up, she wasn't sure I was there. So if she was playing, every time she'd do anything, she'd look around like this and she'd go, like this real shy way, just to make sure I'm watching. Like, are you still watching me, Grandma? It's so cute. Heaven forbid I should take my eyes off her for 1 second. But she was just so like, are you still watching? Just this shy little thing. Darn, they're cute. So freaking cute. Oops, just a sec. What time is it? Ooh, I gotta go. I gotta move over to TikTok. I'm on YouTube the whole time. Check out BratBusters.com. The sale is still going on the boot camp courses. There's still 25% off for till like tomorrow morning. Anyway, it's on my website. You'll see there's a countdown clock on there, I think. Anyway, you can check that out, or you can look into coaching. But my behavior board, I invented it 17 years ago. The parents are on there too. That's why it works. I invented that 17 years ago, and I haven't changed it in 17 years. It's a really good tool. It starts at the age of 3. And it also has a little blurb on there about toddlers. Toddlers can't go on the behavior board, so I put down what you do with under the age of 3. Anyway, I got to go over to TikTok. If you want to join me over there, it's BratBusters Parenting. If not, happy parenting. We'll talk again soon. Remember to check out the sale. It ends in about 14 hours from now. Is that right? I don't know. Yeah, about 14 hours. Anyway, happy parenting. I shouldn't talk about math. I'm not good at it. It's not my fault. TikTok starts ads as soon as you turn it on now. Okay. Okay, I'm on TikTok and YouTube. Okay, Vila says, can you explain what your definition of tantrums are, please? I don't know if you mean complete meltdowns or tantrums that aren't as long as intense. Meltdowns, fits, scenes, tantrums, I just say them all the same. It's a negative reaction to hearing the word no. It's a volatile, screaming reaction to hearing the word no. It's when things don't go their way. Or they could be even trying to do something, like put a puzzle piece in. If they can't get it, then they have a fit. I call that a tantrum. It's a loss of emotional control at things not going their way. However you want to define that, that's up to you. But I treat them all the same. So I'm just reading the YouTube questions here. Okay, welcome TikTok here. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mom. I'm also a grandmother. If you go to BratBusters.com, and you can see the free behavior board, the boot camp courses, they're on sale till tomorrow morning still. It's almost over. That started on Black Friday. It was funny because I couldn't remember when it started. It's Black Friday. You know, I'm not that smart sometimes. I can't think sideways. I only think in one direction. Like I can't do, what do they call that? Not puns, but where it's a riddle. I can't do riddles. My mind doesn't do it. Isn't that weird? I can only think straight. I can't do time travel movies like that Memento movie years and years ago, where he starts at the end of what's happened, then they go backwards. My mind just about blew up. Isn't that weird? I don't think I'm that bright sometimes. Anyway, what was I going to say? Anyway, so the sale ends tomorrow morning, and you can look into coaching one-on-one with me. If you're interested, you can do an intake form. There is a wait list for that, but I'm hoping to get to that maybe this week. So anyway, let's get going with your questions. Why is my toddler fine with me and her dad individually, but when we're together, she's horrible? That's because she hasn't got your undivided attention, because you're talking to each other. That's why. She likes you talking to her. That's why. I'm not saying you should just talk to her, but she'll just have to get used to it. I mean, it could be something else, but I'm assuming that's what it is. How do you feel about preparing toddler before tantrum? Example, we won't be buying toys at the store. I mean, threats? Don't do that. Threats are you trying to control it. No, don't do that. That's a weak parenting method. It's a fear-based parenting method. Okay, if you do that, then we'll do that. It's like that. Yeah, don't do it. Let them have the tantrum. That's where the lessons are. Plus, I don't understand this. How do you feel about preparing toddler before tantrum? Oh, you're going to hate me, Izzy. You're going to leave. Okay. We won't be buying toys at the store. Are you taking a little child into a toy aisle? I think that's like taking an alcoholic into a liquor store. I think it's kind of mean. Like, I never let my kids touch anything when we were out. And I wouldn't take them near toy aisles. Like, I just think it's kind of mean. Teasing. There you go. These are all the things you can't have. Yeah. Why are you doing that? Or are you? I don't know. Yeah, you've probably left by now. Sorry about that, but I had to say it. If my 2-year-old, oh, you're overanalyzing this. If my 2-year-old can say no to me, then are they likely to understand no when it's said to them? I don't understand that. The word no is not what teaches them anything. It's the consistent corrective actions. You say the word no and then just to get their attention, then you follow it up with consistent corrective actions. It's not the word no that it does squat. The word no does nothing, zero. It's the actions that you follow it up with. Or if they're 3 and above, it's the consequences that you follow it up with. Consistent corrective actions are consequences, though. So check out the free behavior board. It has a toddler blurb on it, too. The behavior board is for 3 and over, and under that is toddlers. Also, check out the boot camp courses. It teaches you how to do all this. I don't hate you. Just an example that came to my mind. My baby stays in the cart at the store. You get where I was going with that, though. I see a lot of parents like trying to pull toys away from kids in the toy store. I'm like, why on earth are you there with a toddler? I kind of think it's mean. I wouldn't do it. Yeah. Like I said, it's like bringing an alcoholic to a wine tasting event or something. Oh, well, you got to put an age down. I don't know. You said, what do I do when he screams in my face? Is he 2 or 16 or 18? I don't know. And I don't tend to look at ages so much, or names, I mean. I look at just your questions. So I don't know who's asking what. So if you double up on a question, say, oh, he's 4. I don't know what your original question was. It has to be all self-contained. Okay, good question. And it's an easy answer. This is on YouTube. I have a 5 and a 4-year-old. Can I put disrespectful tone or answering back on the behavior board? Absolutely not. That's in the attitude department. And if they're disrespectful, that's on you. That's your fault. You're not a leader. That's why they're disrespectful. You can't put down, treat me like a leader, even though I haven't earned it. That's what you're saying if you put attitude on there. It's just a tell. Attitude is their attitude is a tell that you're not a leader. Work on your leadership skills, and the attitude improves organically. You look at the behavior board, it'll explain that. You never put attitude on there. You can't put respect me. That's ridiculous. You can't demand respect. You have to earn it. You have to command it. You can't demand it. It's useless. Yeah, it's useless. You got to earn it. Have you ever respected anyone who demanded that you respect them? Ever in your whole life? I never have. I've had to follow orders if I've had a boss I hated, which I did. I had one once. He was awful. He ended up going to jail, I think. He was stealing money. Anyway, he was awful. But yeah, we all hated him. But I still had to do what he said, but we all hated him. There was no respect whatsoever. So yeah, you can't demand respect. Okay, I've got an older kid question. I don't just want to talk about toddlers here because I want to mix up the ages. So whenever I see an older kid question, I try and dive on that. My 9-year-old asked to go pick a toy for his brother's birthday and had a meltdown because he only found toys he liked. He's 9. I don't understand that. Did he expect to get toys himself? I don't understand that. Why would he expect to get toys for himself? I honestly don't understand that. Where's that entitlement come from? Is he entitled, spoiled? Because why on earth would a 9-year-old expect to get a gift when it's not his birthday? I don't understand that. So yeah, I would need to figure that one out. It kind of says that you got to work on your leadership skills because it's very entitled. A 6 and 9-year-old boy won't stay in bed. I quietly put them back to bed without saying anything, 2 hours a night. Yeah, that's a long time. Check out my boot camp course, and I would put down follow bedtime routine. It'd be a consequence if they didn't. So the bedtime routine is don't get out of bed. The consequence is usually just keep putting them back to bed, okay? But they're older, the 9-year-old especially. You don't want to keep using that method. It really only goes up to about 8. So after that, I just say, look, if you keep getting out of bed, the next day there'll be a consequence. That's it. It's your choice. Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm just reading. I got a million different things coming in here. Okay. I'm going to tell you a cute story. I've told it many times before. It's one of my favorites with the client. I always get permission. I never tell names, but I get permission anyway. This was so cute. This family, they had a little girl. She's 8 years old, and they were telling me how bright she is and very mature, 8 going on 18. And I said, well, wait till she's 18, then we'll talk. But anyway, so they told me, I think it was the second week, and she called me that lady, right? I was that, because I always say you've hired someone to help you be a better parent. So anyway, she decided she didn't like that behavior board. So you know what she said to her parents? I thought this was hilarious. She said a few things that were just off the charts. She was 8 going on 18 almost. Like, she was very clever. She said to her parents, she was at the behavior board, she didn't like it. And she said to her parents, you guys are wonderful parents. You don't need that lady. And she pulled down the behavior board. She buttered up her parents to get rid of me. That was the first, and the parents said, yes, we do. And they put it back up. But anyway, but wow, it's the first time I've ever heard of that. Buttered up her parents to get rid of me. You guys are wonderful parents. You don't need that lady. God, kids are great. Another one of my favorite ones was a parent had, I think this kid was 4, and he had a timer. He had to finish something within 5 minutes. He had 5 minutes left. And the mom could see I think she had a baby cam in that room or something. She was watching him. And he was he was going to fudge the time, but he was analyzing it. He thought, if I double it, she's going to know. So he just did it such a way so it was only like an extra minute and a half. Like, I thought that was really clever. He didn't just double it or make it 10 minutes. He only added a couple minutes onto it. I thought that was pretty clever too. I laugh a lot in coaching. I hear the funniest stories. Someone said, how'd you become a parenting coach? I think it just happened organically. I was 11 years old and I started volunteering in daycare centers. And what a weird 11-year-old. I was always mothering everything. So, and even then they were asking me, how do you do that? You're so goofy. And yet the kids listen to you. And I didn't know how to answer that. I always kind of had that with kids. I was very good at connecting and being fun, But when I said something, they listened because they looked up to me. So anyway, and then, later on in life, I was about 40 or something. And the teenagers I was working with troubled teenagers, mentoring them like a behavioral mentor. And they said, Lisa, you got to teach this stuff. No one's ever talked to us like you do. And they kind of told me to do it. And then I wasted $5,000 in career counseling. And the word parent and child never came up in 5 days, 8 hours a day, $5,000 career counseling. Parent or children never came up in conversation in any of this testing that I did. And it said, and it usually comes up with 2 or 3 different careers that you should follow. All it said was teach parenting. Isn't that fascinating? I thought that was just fascinating. And they said that never happened before. They'd always come up with 2 or 3 different careers. And they didn't even know, how do you teach parenting? There was no such thing as a parenting coach. Anyway, then I started doing this. But about 17 years ago, I started my business. But the first year, you can be good at something and not know how to teach it. The first year, I'll admit, I wasn't that effective, I don't think. I was still getting some parents' results, but I couldn't get the accountability across to parents that you have to be accountable. That's what makes this work. I'm very humble and vulnerable with kids. I'm very accountable with kids. And that's what makes all this work, because they knew if I messed up, ooh, Lisa messed up. Ooh, Lisa's in trouble. And I would take my medicine, right? It doesn't work if it's not like that. So, but anyway, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so yeah, I started my business. And then after about a year, I invented that behavior board and put the parents on it. Changed everything. I haven't changed that in all those years. The parents have to have a rule and a consequence also. You have to be on that board. If you're not on the board, you're just a dictator. You're not a leader. Leaders are accountable. Leaders are vulnerable. They're humble. You got to be on that board. Oh, my kids loved it when I messed up. If I promised to do something and I forgot, oh, they loved it. Mom, remember you promised to do that? I don't think that was done. Now, was it? Oh, shoot, it wasn't. What do you want? Ooh, let me think about it. It got so bad. My son was the older one. He'd go, let me think about it. And then he'd make me sweat. And I'd say, okay, I'll tell you what. From now on, you have to come up with my consequence within, I don't know, half an hour or 5 minutes. I don't remember what I said, but I gave him a time limit. He couldn't make me sweat all day. And it was usually taking them to the arcade or something like that. That was my consequence. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be humble, and you have to be accountable, or else you're not a leader. Remember, they're watching you. If you want your kids to be humble, vulnerable, and respectful, you have to be the same. They're watching you. Leaders lead by example, not by telling them and dictating what you want. We don't want obedient soldiers here. We want kids with high self-esteem that have self-discipline, that make good choices. That's all we're after here. One of the nicest things that anyone ever said to me was a teenager I was working with. And he said to me, I didn't like myself until I met you. Like, wow. My goal is always to make them like themselves when they're with me. That's my power. They like themselves when they're with me. Do you know when someone makes you feel good, how do you treat that person? Pretty good. They get very protective of you because you make them feel good, right? So anyway, that's what I teach. And I really believe in this. Like, I really do. It's not the only way, I'm sure. I don't think there's one way for everybody. But I really believe that this is, how can you go wrong if you're accountable? If you're giving respect to get it? I just don't know how you can go wrong with that. It's not about being the authority at all. I never set myself up as trying to be smart or anything, but I'm a leader. I know how to get the best out of kids. I know how to make kids feel good. And my goal was not for them to listen to me. My goal was for them to listen to themselves and make good choices, have self-discipline. Someone said they took offense to one of my podcasts. The podcast was getting like really good reviews, like 5-star reviews. Someone put like a lower review and they said, I'm sick of you saying how easy your kids were. Okay, fair enough. But the reason I say that, I worked my butt off for that. I earned that. Like as if as if my kids came out of my daughter did come out of the womb easy. Yes, she did. My son was more normal. He had tantrums. But I worked for that respect. I earned that. That's why I talk about that. Yeah, my kids were easy, but I earned that. I put the work in. So can you. That's why I teach it. I wouldn't teach this if it wasn't learnable. What would be the point? Why would I do that to you? So yeah, anyone can learn this. It's the follow through that's hard. I can tell parents what to do, but following through, building the habits, that takes time. That's your challenge, is following through and doing the habits, making it a habit. Okay, 6-year-old is silly at bedtime. Can I take away reading a book even though he follows the routine? You can't. I would say I normally would read you 2 books, but I'm only going to read 1 tonight. So I wouldn't take away reading with your kid at night. That's the love, the connection. I don't take away that, but I would say we'll only read 1 book. Or the next day, if they don't follow the routine, I don't punish by taking away love, which is reading with them, right? But the next day I would say, look, the lights didn't go out or whatever, you didn't go to bed when you were supposed to. So here's the consequence the next day. Don't punish at night, right? And don't get caught up in the word punishment. A consequence is a punishment. It's the same thing. I know in the dictionary it can look different, but generally when we're talking about it, it's the same thing. Yeah, here you go. 100% follow through is the hardest. Absolutely, it is. The meltdowns escalate hugely when follow through is done. Escalate. Yeah, you mean so they get worse if you stick to your guns and you just stay calm? The reason they do is they remember yesterday when you didn't. They're going to work even harder to get the old you back when they were in control. That's why they usually get worse before they get better. If they've been in control in the past and you all of a sudden want to take the leadership role, they're going to fight you hard. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Although sometimes in coaching, everything gets easier from day one and the kids are I'm just so glad everything's so great now. They literally will rave about how great their parents are, because a lot of this is you play with them a lot, right? So you connect with your kids a lot. But yeah, so some kids are right on board right away. But can go either way. Yes, they get way worse when I stick to my guns. That just says that they were in charge before and they remember that. I remember like when I was working with kids, as soon as they meet me, they're pretty good with me because I already know how to do this and they pick up on that really fast. Like that 8-year-old kid who said to me, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I said to him, bring it on. And he never did. He thought, you could see it in his face. He thought, oh, she knows what she's doing. So that takes time. That takes years to really get that confidence. I know what I'm doing. And kids pick up on that. Now, he was great with me. Happy as anything. Great. Teacher said, what'd you do? What'd you do? I asked him to have a fit. I invited it. So yeah, they really don't want to act like that, but they'll force, it's like they're forcing your hand. They really don't want to be in charge, which contradicts the fact that they'll fight to be in charge. But what they're really fighting for is they're pushing you to be a leader. They need, crave, and want a leader. That's what they're doing. They're actually pushing you, pressuring you to become a leader, believe it or not. Because I know that, because when they come up against a leader, they calm right down. They're happier. Children don't want to be in charge. They're children. They need a leader. They need, crave, and want a leader. If you're not a leader with your children, you send them out in the world, like 5 years old, go send them off to school, and you're not a leader, they're going to be very vulnerable to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. You get the idea. They're going to go searching for a leader. It's a natural instinct for a child to look for a leader. If you're not a leader at home, they're going to go looking elsewhere. You don't want that. That's why they say, oh, he's so impressed, so swayed by peers. Work on your leadership. That's how you fight that. The Kardashians, not that they're so bad, but they maybe don't have the same value system I would want my kids to have. That's all. Do you help children with autism? I only work with parents, but I've worked with tons of parents with kids with autism, and I've also worked with lots of kids with autism, but I don't work with kids anymore. I only teach parenting. Anyway, that is just coaching because it's more what I call special needs. I need to find out what's worked in the past, what hasn't worked in the past. We throw mud at the wall and see what sticks. That's how I work with kids with special needs. I remember years and years ago, I used to volunteer at this hospital called Sunny Hill Hospital here in Vancouver. And it's a long-term, it's for children only. I think when they're 18, they go off into long-term care. care. They're kids that, they're really, it's really sad actually. But anyway, and it was funny because when volunteers first turn up, they were quite rude to you. And I couldn't figure out why. And they said, because volunteers never last more than one day. That's why they just get frustrated seeing all these new, like, oh, here I am. I'll be here for, I'm committed to a whole year or whatever. And no one ever comes back. Anyway, I was there for 2 years. And I was there for, I think, twice a week for 2 years. And I was helping out with these little kids it's just fascinating to me, actually, because I work on connecting with kids. Now, how do I connect with these kids? They can't see, they can't, they're just on a lot of medication to prevent seizures. They have shunts, they're disabled, they're just laying there. So I said, how do I connect? How do I know if they know who I am? And they said, oh, they'll know. And once they get to know you, and I said, how? And they said, when you go to pick one of them up, they go like that they're protecting their shunts to drain, right? They go like that. And I said, yeah. And they said, when they get to know you, they'll go like that. It's total trust. I thought that was fascinating. And I remember one day, it was a few weeks in, and I went to I remember his name and everything. I know he's still alive too. This was like back in the 80s. So this is 40. He must be in his 40s by now. Anyway, so I went to pick him up and he went like that. And I thought, wow, I just connected with these kids I didn't think you could connect with. So yeah, I just found that fascinating. You can always find a way to connect with people, always. You just have to sometimes get creative. Okay, let me see here. I've still got 89 emails to answer tonight. I know over the weekend, I try not to answer emails over the weekend, by the way. I still work all weekend, but I try not to answer emails, just so you know. And then I try and only answer them once a day. So I answered emails Friday morning, and now it's Monday night. So I've got to get to 89 emails. Anyway, I'm doing my best here. My daughter answers most of them that come in, but I do all the client work, all the client emails, or most of those. Anyway, so I got to get going because I got to do all my work here. So I got to be a good girl. Anyway, I'm going to get going. Thanks so much for joining me. The sale is still going on the boot camp courses. It finishes tomorrow morning. That's our 25% off Black Friday sale. So thanks so much for your support turning up to these lives. I really appreciate it. I think they will be ending soon. They're regularly scheduled ones. I'm so busy these days. I'll still be doing these drop-in lives, but the Tuesday and Thursday night lives, I think my daughter said we're going to stop doing those. We were just discussing that today. I'll still do drop-ins, but we've got so much on the go. Also, we're doing 2 podcasts a week starting next week because that's going fabulously. We didn't know. My daughter and I do that together, which is tons of fun. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and I'll be back again tomorrow for my regularly scheduled live. So I am doing them this week anyway. So, okay, thanks so much. Happy parenting. Talk soon.